Welcome to the What's Already podcast, where we fashion ourselves television judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Mattson Heiner. You are muted, my friend.
Well, audience, that's listening to us live and on the podcast. I was trying to eat some s'mores snacks here, and they're very good, but I was muting myself. So I'm following the footsteps of Javier Ortiz, who love to eat on the podcast. This is the real Ginge, a.k.a. Mattson Heiner, better Ed than dead. That took forever.
It's good times. Good times. And Alec Burgess.
I have my next TikTok. Let's get it.
I love when we feed
when snacks
TikToks,
come
man.
a-calling. That's what you should say. Snacks.
Snacks.
Everybody loves snacks.
Just ending the workday over here in northeast Seattle, man. You gotta wolf down something since we're doing this for the hot minute. I always get so hungry after these things.
I know. I'm usually starving by the time we're done, but I actually had I got home in time to eat while I was doing some extra work before we get started. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We appreciate you tuning in, especially for our live episode. If you're listening after the fact or watching after the fact, we appreciate that too. We appreciate all listeners, even ones that call us buffoons. So with that, we're here to talk about the Rings of Power and House of the Dragon. We're going to do that back to back. You guys will have a little break for the lives. If you're not watching lives, you guys can just listen to the episodes separately. But yeah, let's start with Rings of Power. Okay, so I have some information, Alec, that will hopefully it made this last episode much easier for me to digest and enjoy.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go back and rewatch the first 3 episodes because of what I know now. And that is that when they decided to make this show, knowing where they were at and all the constraints and the fact that they're covering 3,000 years, right? They worked with the Tolkien family estate, and the Tolkien family estate gave them a bunch of information, and they were then created a truncated timeline. So we are in one timeline that was supervised by the Tolkien estate, and they truncated it down. So we're not dealing with necessarily 3,000 years. It doesn't change the canon, but that's why they're not giving dates. So they're not giving dates because if they give dates, it locks us nerds like us in to going, no, you fucked this up. Whereas now we can say, well, based on this truncated timeline. So that's why we have these characters that we have. That's why you see. But I was like, announce that shit. Like,
yeah. Did you have to like really go down a rabbit hole, or did they kind of announce it and I just missed it?
No, I had to kind of go down a rabbit hole. So I was like, it was on accident that I found it. It wasn't even like I went searching. I was just messing around on the internets and getting lost in the web. And all of a sudden this little thing popped up where it was like timeline of Rings of Power. And I was like, okay, let me read. Yeah. And then it said they talked about the fact that the estate helped them decide, which I'm assuming that means it was probably Chris Tolkien got in there and said, okay, here's what you can do and how you can make this timeline shorter in order to add the characters. Because they also had a lot of say and a lot of advice for the new characters that were created. So
that's all I needed. I'm okay now.
Dude, doesn't it make a huge difference?
It makes
Talk about some CYA, cover your ass right there. You can't complain with that, you nerds.
I'm telling you. I mean, it's smart. Like I said, I wish they would have announced it. All Amazon had to do was say, hey, for you.
We shrunk the timeline.
Yeah, for you mega nerds, you're not going to get a timeline because we've truncated it. So we're acting like, you're watching thousands of years in a very short period of time. And I would have been just fine because that's all I've really complained about is the confusion and frustration of not knowing when I am. Yeah.
So then, who's the wizard?
I'd see that one. I'm still confused, but I'm starting to drift away from the Gandalf thoughts because the one thing that they did say in addition to this was that the showrunner, I believe it was, said there's nothing that will break canon. So even though we've truncated the storyline and the timeline, we also haven't done anything that would dick around with the canon and the timelines. We're not doing anything out of order is what they're saying. They're just shrinking the timeline. So with that said, like we've talked about in previous episodes, Gandalf and Saruman and all the other wizards, Radagast, those guys, they don't show up until the Third Age. So based on that comment from the showrunner, I don't think it's one of the wizards that we're aware of. Now, there's nothing to say that this isn't a new character and there were wizards prior to Saruman and Gandalf, or it still could technically, I guess, be one of the blue wizards because they were Second Age, so it could be that. Or it could be, like I said, some sort of rebirth of Sauron, because there was that weird hint
about the
I want to get Alex's
Starfall
opinion because he's more of our resident LOTR nerd. Where is your opinion on with that?
It's tough because I was actually leaning more towards Gandalf based off of something, because I dove into the lore again. And when the Harfoots split, they split kind of around the time that Sauron was coming back. So I was leaning towards that, but I mean, I've also kind of gone the way of this could just be another Maya, or even one of the Valar if they were really trying to go crazy.
Sure.
You know, it could also be what's Elrond's daddy's name? Erendil?
You know what's interesting is I was just thinking that too. In
Erendil
this moment,
coming in, getting knocked out of the sky as part of an omen, because his job is to kind of carry the star across the heavens, type of a deal. And that would be cool because we are getting Elrond's daddy issues.
Yeah.
Showing up. So that's a tough one because I was leaning into Gandalf, and then JJ said they truncated the timeline, not breaking anything. So that kind of takes that away. So I don't know.
I like this Erendil idea though, because they even talking with Elrond talking about like having that one moment with his dad, something like that could be an interesting twist.
And he's looking for stars.
Yeah. Well, and he was a shooting star. I mean, good Lord, that's because that's pretty much what his dad is at this point. So
yeah. So that was something that I was thinking.
It's smart.
Yeah, it's tricky though.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, so what's his name? Adar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Straight up G. What happened to him?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
he's made up elf, though, right?
Yeah.
So he's a dark.
He's a dark elf.
Dark elves. I'm not cool enough to really understand. I mean, I'm sure
there was only a couple in the Legendarium of Tolkien, where essentially they're just elves who went bad. Sided with Sauron and Morgoth in the First Age. I don't think there's any that ended up in the Second or Third Age.
No record anyway.
Yeah, but they're playing with stuff that hasn't been played with before, so I love it.
Yeah.
And I think having him be the Adar called the Father by the orcs is based off of the line in Two Towers, I think it is, where Saruman talks to his Uruk-hai. He tells them that orcs were derived of elves.
Yeah.
It's a Peter Jackson trilogy thing, and not really super canon, but I kind of liked it. I was like, oh, I see where they're going with that. They're taking that route.
Yeah, I've been during this whole thing with the introduction of Adar. I'm like, well, when are they going to make Uruk-hai? Like, how does that start? Does he begin that process at some point? I've just been curious.
That would be Third Age, because that was Saruman who came up with the Uruk-hai.
Oh, so when he did come, okay, so he got it. So that didn't happen till then. I was wondering if he like brought it back. I would, you never know.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So I just have to point out that we now have two Starks represented in this show, because the guy playing Adar he played Benjen Stark in the original Lord of the Rings, the original Game of Thrones series. So I was like, oh, now we got Ned and his little brother in the show. Yeah, I was like, whoo. I was like, Amazon really poached a lot from HBO for this series,
right?
Which I'm okay with. I really enjoy that actor. Yeah, he's really good. I can't Joseph something. I don't remember his last name, but I really enjoyed him in Game of Thrones. So,
What's the cool elf that we really like? I'm forgetting his name.
Arondir.
I liked your TikTok, Alec, about trying to already compare him to Legolas, and obviously Legolas smashed. Everyone loves him. We're gonna need to see a lot more of this Arondir for a while to get onto the level of Mr. Legolas. But so far, I will say, pretty sweet dude.
Dude, he's dope. He caught an arrow out of midair.
Yeah, that was so
Just
cool.
snatched it. And I love that they did that in slow mo.
Yeah.
That was cool. That whole scene running through the forest.
Yeah.
Was amazing. I was like, dude, I'm on Team Arondir.
It was cool to see that, and then with Arendelle seeing his elvish vision, as he was able to kind of lip read the conversation between, is it Doran or what's his name?
Yeah, Doran
and his wife, and I was like, that's cool because they always kind of hinted at that within the trilogy, but you never were able to really experience it, and they didn't really focus on it a ton with Legolas. You got to see him like stand on the snow, but he could see afar up, but they didn't show like what he could really see. And I was like, oh, it's cool. Like if it's that, like that's what they're dealing with. I'm like, dang, Elf's got it going on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I have a question for you, Alec. I have a couple actually, because these are ones that I don't know enough to have even theories on yet. The first one is Adar Mygleen?
Ooh.
Who is that? You gotta help us common folk here.
So
defender of the people out here, common folk.
Mygleen or Maygleen, I don't know how. I'm not great at pronouncing it. He was a dark elf, son of Eel, correct?
Yeah.
That's all I know about him.
He was like Elrond's grandpapa.
That's right. That's right.
Like that would be really cool.
Yeah, because he doesn't die till the second age, right?
He doesn't die.
Oh, I thought he got killed by somebody. I thought somebody tracked him down. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe it was the Valar. One of the Valar got him. But that would be cool.
Yeah. That was one thought that I had.
That would add an entirely different element to the whole story if they brought him, because he was one of the very few dark elves. He's the guy who betrayed Gondolin and all them. Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be cool, right? I would be okay with them breaking canon if they brought if this was the reason.
Right. Well, because then I was like, I'm trying to dive in, and I don't remember if he was, because I'm pretty sure that he's mentioned in the appendices somewhere. I don't think it was much, but I think he was mentioned. And then I know he was mentioned in the history of Middle Earth. Now, I don't know if they own the rights to the history of Middle Earth. But I think, because I think they got everything but the Silmarillion and the Unfinished Tales. And if they got history of Middle Earth, then he's fair game. That really changes some shit, doesn't it?
That changes a lot.
And then if it is him, okay, this takes me to the next question: is the damn sword we're seeing, is that his sword? Because he had a sword, Angarel, Ang was something, one of them elvish words. He had a pretty famous sword. And if it's not his, then what the hell's that sword? And that's my question that I don't even have a theory on, other than if it's Maygleen.
Well, the thing with that is I thought that was Sauron's mace that he uses, because they call it the hilt. They never mentioned blade.
That's what I thought it was.
But if that was his sword and it is him, I would like that.
Yeah, because didn't Maygleen have a sword that was forged by Eel, right? Like,
yeah, he had a pretty badass sword.
One of the meteorite swords was his anyway. That was kind of what I was thinking. But if it's not, I don't know that it would change it that much to be kind of tainted by Sauron and the mark. Anyway, that's some deep lore shit right there. But that's what I was thinking as I was watching the episode last night, going, the only dark elf I can think of off the top of my head is him. And it's the right time frame for it.
A more common folk question is, what is that hilt doing to the boy and that old man? Like, it seems like to draw out some of their blood, or what is it trying to do? Because like with the ring, obviously it brought out the carnal desires of man, gave them more power, but made them evil and power hungry. And is the sword gonna kind of do something similar? Or the hilt, I should say. We don't know if it's a sword.
Alec, I'll let you tackle that.
I have no idea.
Because it's
Okay.
definitely, they've shown enough times now, it's going to do something, and it's going to F something up, and I'm just waiting for it.
So
And and obviously Adar wants it, so it's going to do something awesome. They seem to have been looking for it, so I'm very curious what this is going to do.
So I've actually been wondering if Theo, little kid, is going to turn into one of the 9 kings of men, maybe even the Witch King.
I had that same thought.
Oh ho ho!
Because he's playing a little bit more of a role than you'd expect of just a side character. So I wonder if he will grow up, because I have a feeling we're going to see some sort of little time shift coming, where we advance characters or move into a little bit further along the timeline. And I wonder if we'll see him kind of grow up into one of the 9 kings of men.
Yeah.
What that hilt is doing, I imagine, is just further corrupting and bringing them back down to being kind of servants of Sauron.
So we had some comments here. We got bath time with Vaughn is watching. So I'm really excited. He's got some crazy shit going on right here. So let's pop this up. He says, hello, lads. Or she. Bath time with Vaughn. Hello, bath time with Vaughn. Next. Okay, hang on. Let me not show that right away, because they just blew my mind. I got to get my freaking.
Let's get your pronouns right.
My pronouns right here, because I don't know. They says, you don't think it's Eol's sword and Adar is Eol? Also could be true. I mean, that's a tough one. And then he says, because you have to pop parts of yourself into the stuff you make, which is why Sting and Gladrin glow, etc. Eol's sword is nasty, and Eol's sword is nasty. So
so
you
that's
need
why it's
blood.
pulling stuff. That's why. Okay, well that makes a ton of sense. Thank you, Bath Time with Vaughn.
Not done yet. Bath Time with Vaughn is still going.
Oh no!
And I believe that Bath Time with Vaughn might have some British connection, because this is about to be my favorite comment ever. And there's a new meteor around, isn't it? I mean, and then finally, here we go. I reckon Brahman might become a wraith. There's nice dramatic irony with that and the elf love story. Yeah. That one makes me sad to think about, but it could very well. She might take one for the team. And yeah.
That would be unfortunate.
Yes. But it would make sense.
That'd be a real heart ripper.
Wait, a wraith? There can be a ring wraith we're talking about?
I would assume so, or some form of. There were other ways for wraiths to be made.
I thought there was only. So wait, there's more than. Oh, so you can, when you get turned, you're a wraith, but I thought there was only 9 wraiths that they show, but there's other wraiths you can just be a wraith, but not the 9.
Yeah, like when Frodo gets stabbed with the Morgul blade on top of on Hilltop. So he was on his way to becoming a wraith.
Got it.
Until, in the movies, until Arwen.
Well, that's a super interesting theory.
Yeah, that's what. See,
I like Bath Time with Ron.
Bath Time was on it, so Frodo was going to be one too.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that you could. Okay, well, that makes much more sense. So that would be an interesting plot point, because I definitely think Rowan is ripe for something to happen. There's just a lot going on with that hill, and a lot. That's of all the timelines of all the stories that are happening right now. That is definitely the one I'm most invested in at the moment. And I'm really enjoying what they're doing with that.
Yeah, same here. It's just so cool. What that whole side of it is really fun to watch, and because it's all new, but it's all familiar, and then so it adds like this real depth of enjoyment, because you're like, whoa, I don't know anything about this, but I love it, right? So
I want to Bath Time with Vaughn. A real time question here. We've been talking about who we think this wizard is. I would love to know who you
Mhm.
think this wizard is.
Or the
Feel free
stranger.
to chime in. Yeah, the stranger. That's the correct term. Thank you, JJ.
Yeah.
But I would love to know.
Okay. This person is some deep cut shit here. Okay, ready? Bath time with Vaughn. The only problem I have with the Southland story is they're from the South, but they speak like Northerners. That's some deep. Yep. See this dude or lady, whichever one.
JJ struggling.
I think
so
dude
much.
is
Because
gender neutral.
everybody's a dude to me. I
dude. That's
even call
whatever.
Casey dude all the time. She gets mad at me for it.
Oh,
but,
good.
yeah.
Is there anything else?
That's a good point, though, on the speaking
Uh-huh.
like Northerners.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a nod to the fact that almost everybody started out on the east of Middle Earth and then migrated west.
Oh, we got my answer, JJ. Bring it up.
Oh yeah, you did get it. Wow. Okay. I like this. He says it's clearly Gandalf, but I want him to be a Balrog and not Olorin because I'd love the last scene to be a Balrog starting up Mount Doom and the darkening of Mordor. And we already got
So wait, a Balrog can turn into human form?
they can shapeshift.
Dude, this stuff just gets
history of
crazier by the minute, and I'm loving it.
So that's twisted because we saw a little bit of the darkening power
Yeah.
in this episode when Theo's running, trying to get back. We saw the sky start to darken, and then his little friend was running up the hill trying to outrun the darkness. That's a oh,
Those
there you
poor
go.
Harfoots.
I cannot
Walking
get
around
enough
the Balrog.
of bath time with Vaughn. Okay, he says, or they say it's a Maiar, isn't it? And I don't know the rule. I don't know about the rules. It probably is a Maiar of some sort, that's my thought. It's just an early version of the Maiar.
Well, we have learned so much. Appreciate the chime in.
Thanks for the comments. This is what I love about going live, is we can interact. Man, I'm telling you. Let's talk about the other side of the world at this point for a minute. Not what I expected out of the Queen Regent and Galadriel.
I almost lost my sugar honeyed iced tea, JJ, when we saw the wave coming in.
Yeah.
I was like, they better not. And then thankfully, it's just a vision.
Yeah. Well, that
I
like
almost lost it.
now that you know that like the timeline's truncated, it makes it a little easier to swallow, but I would have been pissed too. We have one more, another comment from Bath Time before we keep going on with the new lines. Bro, them Harfoots are all going to get killed. and only the Nori and her family are going to survive. You're probably not wrong. Yeah. And it's, the wave, I mean, that's what happens. But at the same time, like I think what really got me the most on that one was the end when they're sailing away, or you think they're sailing away, and you see the trees or the blooms, the leaves and stuff of the trees following Galadriel and the petals, and you're just like, well, how are you going to argue that shit now? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. But I'm also very torn because they're also setting up the Civil War between what splits this whole thing and how what's his face and Isildur obviously end up in Middle Earth. Elendil, that's right. Yeah.
So Halbrand, he's another one that's
it's so weird. Like, I don't know what to do with him
because he's a smith, right?
Yeah.
Metal work. So was Sauron. Very good.
Yeah,
very good smith.
True.
And it's like
he's meddling. He's a little more meddling.
But I'm wondering if they're gonna.
Sorry, keep going.
No, it's just I'm actually curious if they're gonna show us Sauron in this, or if he's gonna continue to be a behind the scenes bad guy.
Yeah.
Bath Time with the strong opinion here.
Yeah, like can you read the comments?
Yeah, I can see them.
Yeah.
You gotta
hold on.
that one.
We're gonna go back to a couple of comments from Bath Time because I just got my brain melted because I have to go rewatch this episode. Thanks for that, Bath Time. Bath Time says, oh wait, no, that's the funny comment. Here you go. But did you see Adar in the picture of Elrond and Elros in the Hall of Records or whatever?
Ooh.
No, I didn't. Was that in this most recent episode, or was that the one before where they showed? Because now I gotta go. Damn it!
We know what JJ's doing tonight.
I know.
Episode 3.
Yeah, he says it was episode 3. Oh my good lord! He says they literally showed a puppet of Galadriel and then cut to him. Son of a bitch! Now I have to go rewatch episode
I got to
3
as well. All right.
So something else that Bath Time brought up. I quite right. The Palantir has got glitched and can only show one thing. Yes, I love this. This is my favorite episode we've ever recorded, boys. I'm just telling you.
That's funny.
I was so tickled to see the Palantir. Like,
it got scratched is what happened.
Yeah.
So now it's just skipping on image on a loop. It's like a CD.
Exactly. It's like a CD, just back and forth, just restarts the track. I was really happy. I love the way that plays out. That's how. And I like the fact that it's this vision that's created the downfall of Numenor, right? Like this isn't like I like that they've made it so that it's not just this group of great human beings that are having issues. And so the whole civilization, except for a small group, are just anti-establishment and elves. It's that there's reasons behind it. And I think that's an interesting concept when you think about the Lord of the Rings in general, especially from the non-canon or the outside fringes of the canon because there's so little detail that Tolkien was able to give outside the original trilogy and The Hobbit, because fortunately he passed away, but his notes have all these comments. And now we're getting a chance to see some of the motivations in places that we never had motivation. We just knew Numenor fell. We knew that they went from being on the side of elves and being technically at one point, they descend from elves or the Valar at least. And then all of a sudden they're not on board anymore because they're petty and they're jealous and whatnot. But what else caused that? So to see that this king has gone nuts from looking into a Palantir and seeing a vision that cracked him. Yeah, I liked it. I'm fully on with this show now. Like, I had my issues, but
once I got
100% on board.
Timeline, I'm good to go. That's all I ever wanted.
Yep. Love it.
For not knowing as much as both of you, I've already been on the show. I can't wait to see a little bit more action. For me personally, I loved Adar. I love what they're building with that, because I wanted a compelling villain that's going to get me through to the next stage. Definitely have that. So many different interesting storylines, and I'm loving learning a lot more about this lore. Because me personally, I love Lord of the Rings and diving. It's going to get me to go read a lot more of the stuff behind the scenes and become more of an LOTR nerd myself. But this is the gateway to the good way.
Yeah. And Bath Time had another follow-up comment. He says, one thing that vexed me in the films was how they never did Denethor and his Palantir properly. 100% agree, because you just never see it. They mentioned it. Oh, you have a Palantir or whatever, but you never. And that was a huge part of the book, that was making him nuttier than a freaking bag of cashews. So it's just like, what the hell's going on? So
that one got a little bit away from you, didn't it, JJ?
There was going to be a little bit more inappropriateness there, but I keep remembering we're on Facebook. So, yeah. But
I tell you, I'm looking forward to more Celebrimbor.
Yeah.
Because we see a little bit of that crazy come out wherein he thinks Durin is hiding something from him. And we kind of see the stress and the anxiety that he has. He's got to get this tower built. We know the reason why, but nobody else really does. And he's starting to come a little bit unhinged.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think you'll start to see the even more, because right now it seems like while they're not like, hey, kumbaya and shit with the elves, it's not like there's a level of hatred. So you're starting to see maybe where those seeds are starting to get sown, where the lack of trust about something that has nothing to do with what they're doing is driving Celebrimbor kind of batty about it. And then the two of them are just testing each other, right? Like Durin's dad sends him to spy kind of basically at the end there, and Celebrimbor's having a little crack, and it's just, yeah, it's interesting, the intrigue, now that I'm not worried about timelines. So
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it.
Bad Time's the best. Okay.
That
So
comment.
this is great. He's talking about Denethor here, which, I give Denethor a bunch of shit because he does go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but he was the only man that resisted the will of Sauron prior to Aragorn looking into it at the end there. But finally, I love this. I hope they don't go sexual with Celebrimbor and Sauron. Any kind of love is fine in Tolkien as long as it's not sexual. It's fair. I mean, they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
That would definitely go against the man's wishes for what he wrote in his canon. Yep. So,
that's fair.
Man,
I love it.
Loving these comments.
Great episode. This is fun. Yeah. Okay. I have one last thing before we move on to House of Dragon. Friggin' Durin's wife is a boss. Like, screw Durin being king. Just let this chick run the joint, because damn, she's like lying to friggin' Elrond like a boss, like
playing the politics game. She got it.
Yeah, and then like when she's singing at the end and making the whole damn place shake, and oh my, that was dope.
Let's not forget, she's the one who actually discovered Mithril.
That's fair too.
Put that on your resume. Shoot.
Dope. And I like how they're playing the Mithril thing. Like, that this is the first time you're seeing it. They don't know what's going on. They're a little hesitant even, right? Like, which you don't foresee because of the way that Barad-dûr eventually falls. You wouldn't expect there to be hesitation around jumping in. So,
well, now what you guys told me earlier in some of our podcasts, that because they find this and they dig so low that it becomes the downfall. Like, I hope at some point in one of these seasons we can see what that looks like, because I'm fascinated by what, like, they open up some chasm and all hell breaks loose, because we know it does, but very excited.
Yeah, it would be quite a time jump to do that, but it would be kind of interesting to see how they pull off showing Balin again, like, now that he's made his screen appearance. All right, we got to, this guy, this lady, whoever the hell, Bath Time, my favorite. You think all the talk of Arendelle means we might see him? I was gutted we never saw him whizzing about with the Silmaril fighting dragons. It would have been kind of Fast and Furious.
As long as you got family, I hope we can see it.
Yeah. Oh, now this is another one, because the lake got mentioned, okay, in this episode. I think the Watcher in the Water might pop out at some point. Yep. Because it did get mentioned that they were underneath it. So kind of fun. Man, Bath Time. Thanks for joining us. Hang out,
MVP.
Man, or girl. We're gonna be talking about House of Dragon here soon. If you like that show, hang out and give us some more comments. At this point, though, it's time to move on to that. Before we do, Mattson, tell everybody where they can find us.
Hey, if you want to keep interacting with us, continue to check us out on our Facebook and YouTube lives every Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain or 8 p.m. Eastern, F Central Time. You can listen to the House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Otherwise, wherever good podcasts can be found, search What's Our Verdict Reviews. Come listen to the numerous amount of TV shows and movies that we're doing, as well as some other things like understanding if the Earth is actually round or flat. That's been a controversial episode of late. And then check us out on TikTok and Instagram to see some of our cuts from our recording sessions, and just come chime in. And our website at whatsourverdict.com. If you want us to review something or talk about something more in depthly, email us at hosts@whatsourverdict or slide into our DMs on social media and we will respond.
And Bath Time finally threw me a line, a freaking, yeah. I'm a lads. So I appreciate that, because I've been going.
JJ's
nuts.
been struggling out here,
Man.
struggle bus.
I've been going freaking nutty as a bag of
Oh, my
pistachios
goodness.
over here, because I didn't know, and I'm just.
Hey, Bad Time, if this is your first time listening to us, let us know, because you are now my favorite listener.
Yeah.
Charles, when you do listen to this, F you, Charles. Bath Time is on the opposite end. Bath Time is like gold. You're like doo-doo.
But we love doo-doo. All right, so we are going to move on to House of Dragons. If you're watching this live, hang out. We'll be back in 2 shakes. Just got to run our intro, so for editing and all that fun stuff, for me to cut up episodes. But
2 shakes.
2 shakes of a bag of pistachios.
Yes.
Batson says it's his first time, bruv. Well, thanks, bruv, for listening to us. I'm just going to steal your word there, and I love that you're listening. So, so there it is. We'll be back in just a second. With that, we appreciate you tuning in. For those that might not stay, as always, we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Cinematic.
That's your line, Mattson.
I know.
It
It feels weird because it's not really bye. It's like, bye, see you in
later.
10 seconds.
Yeah, well, I'm leaving all this on. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the What's Up Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves television judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Mattson Heiner.
Better red than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that like, follow, subscribe button. Tell all your friends about us. Hit all those buttons, the bell notification, all that crap that helps you stay up with us and keep watching and do all that fun stuff.
Stay up with it. I mean, it's only 8:41 in Eastern, F Central time, but we're fine.
I love that is stuck. So as you can tell, we're having a good time. We're going to review now the House of the Dragon, episode 5. I can't even keep track.
Yeah, I think so.
There's
Yeah,
so much shit these days.
Yeah.
Season 1, episode 5. Man, it was. This is another one that I'm full on invested. I was slow to get there.
It picked up quick in this episode.
Yeah, shit got real.
but in a different way of quick though, because it like episode 4 had, I mean, obviously an awesome combat scene and kind of showing us some things I wanted to see in terms of the world building and action. But this was a very much a political, perilous journey and what that looks like. And man, towards the end there, I had to start Googling stuff, and Taylor did, because I was like, oh shit, stuff is going down that I didn't even know. And I knew you nerds were super excited because I was even getting excited. I was like, there's things I don't even know and understand.
Yeah, shit got real, and it was getting into like the book stuff. So they've been kind of off. I don't want to say off book. They've been in between book commented stuff from Fire and Blood. So like the story is very segmented in the book, like because it's like kind of a fourth party telling a third party retelling of the story. So there's a lot of detail missing. So I've been really excited this episode because we got into all sorts of craziness. You see in the book, it's hinted at that it could have been Daemon that made sure that his wife died in the Vale. Now we know, according to TV show canon, that happened. What a dick.
But even the entire time, it almost looks like he came there for a different reason. And so even you're still kind of left to your own devices on whether you think he showed up to the Vale with the intention of killing his wife or had an opportunity and decided to take
Well, while we continue to talk bath time, I am curious why you're not enjoying them dragons as much as you thought you would. Definitely chime in, because I'm curious to hear from our common folk listeners out there what is and isn't working.
Bath time says not enjoying them House of them dragons. That's love it.
I
That's
feel
the
like
only thing that would have been better if it was DEM, some dumb American like House of them dragons. Like
we'll have to refer to it from that as now on. But there's just a lot going on in terms of just the political squalor that is building it for what we know. And we know this next preview of the next episode, there's going to be that time jump that we were kind of waiting for. But with Viserys, like every scene in this, I was just waiting for him to drop down. I mean, granted, he did a few times, but dude, the man ain't looking good.
Yeah, and he gets looking worse. Like I'm excited because I was afraid of how early they were having him get sick, but he was sickly for a good half of his reign. So it's very interesting to see that start to play out. And then in the preview, like he looks like ass. So but there's a lot of things that are going to start happening where the intrigue is just going to get crazy. You thought this episode was crazy. If they keep going now, we've seen in previews that the kids are coming into this thing. That stuff starts getting weird. You're going to see more of Damon and his shenanigans. It's that guy. The whole
is a really good word,
isn't it? Though it's one of my favorites. Yeah, it's ugly.
So, first of all, Lord Corlys Valerian, talk about balls of steel.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
this dude keeps the king waiting, makes the king come to him, and then negotiates like a boss.
Oh yeah, yeah. He just
I was loving every minute of it. So what's Viserys gonna do?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, he's got no leverage.
Yeah, he's up a creek without a paddle, and he knows it. Oh yeah.
Well,
that's the best part too is that Viserys knows it. That's why let's just get this over with.
Yeah,
let's go.
Fine, whatever.
And I love that he doesn't stay. Like he gets all feeling shitty, and he's like, "Okay, that's done. Let's leave."
I absolutely love that. What did Bath Time with Vaughn say?
This is the greatest. Okay, I don't know if I'm able to read this. Okay, I don't like New Danny that much. The politics is too overt. Doctor Who doing Saving Private Ryan single-handedly, and then that boy band member in the King's Guard being a waste in every 5 minutes. That might be the greatest comment in YouTube history right there. And it's the best because it's true. Like, okay. Whew. Bad Time, you got to hit us up on an email because we got to figure out getting you on an episode, dude. Like,
yeah, he's killing the game.
Seriously. I will say this. What I'm nervous about is I actually like to, not to be contrary with Bad Time, but I actually like the actress that's playing Rhaenyra. I like her intensity. I like the way, but I'm worried about the transition because we're not going to see her again very much, if at all, after this starting next episode. So I'm hoping, my hope is that the new actress can do it even better. I mean, and so far in the preview that I saw, it wasn't long and she wasn't in it much, but yeah, it looks like she should do some well. But man, yeah, what do you guys think about old, what's his face, Sir Kristen Cole?
He's the new Jon Snow.
Yeah, but he's not that cool, and he's kind of a dick, if I'm being honest. But yeah, he's trying to be the new Jon Snow, all honorable and shit. Go away, ratting her out to the queen.
Oh, yeah, ratting himself out to the queen.
Well, yeah, I mean, what an idiot! What an idiot!
Wait,
he's as dumb as Jon Snow. I'll give him that.
He had just that whole arc where I'm like, dude, you got to get over yourself. Like, he knows that people are making all kinds of decisions that put themselves in the best light. The political squalor, like, do they really care that his oath, like, no one really knows, and he's confessing, and do they really care? I mean, they know everyone's banging each other and coupling, as they call it. Like, and that's why it's just like, dude, like, why are you confessing to the queen? Like, you didn't have to. If anything, the worst case scenario is you're gonna die. So if you really don't want to die, maybe just go kill yourself, like you're gonna do at the end of this episode, and just do it and be a man. Or just like own it and move on and do your thing. And I'm curious now because I'm thinking the queen is going to use him as an ally against Rhaenyra at some point, which that part, like, I'm like, all right, like, we'll see where that goes because that's cool. But he's like a little punk ass bitch at this point. So
applause to Mattson. What a way to express that, because that's what I would say. I'm rubbing off on Mattson. I love it.
But that's what he looked like at the end.
No,
absolutely. He's about to gut himself, and he looks, and the queen's like, did she say his name? Sir Christian. He looked at him, he's like, oh, I don't have to kill myself. Just die, you effer.
And I was like sitting there going, I was watching this going, are they really going to have him like commit seppuku? Like, really? Like, what a weird.
Yeah, it was like a Japanese. I was like, oh, he's going like Japanese style. I was like, I didn't even know they knew that was a thing, or they just influenced that. But him killing the Rhaenyra's soon-to-be husband's boyfriend, like, dude, redhead, like, dang, dude, it was not better to be red because he was dead. But I guess when Sir Christian found out that he knew his secret, I guess that was the last straw, and he's like, I'm killing somebody, like, I can't contain it. Man, that was brutal because they actually like showed like half his face like gouged out. I was like, hey, like you snapped a thing and they didn't do anything about it, and poor kid that had to marry Rhaenyra and his F buddy's gone.
Yeah. Bath Time had an interesting comment here. One Direction Kingsguard can literally do nothing right. I will say he bashed in that dude's face right though. Like, man, when he flipped his head and it had like you could see the hole. Wow, it was brutal. And to Alec's point, he had another comment here, Bath Time. How you gonna stand up the king like that? Send out your gay son with his boyfriend instead of meeting them and literally get no consequences. It's true.
Summer King.
Summer King. Yeah, the king's just as much of a punk ass bitch as his Kingsguard.
Pussy.
Yeah.
I will say though, that interaction at the party or whatever, the feast,
yeah,
I loved it because you have one guy who's been raised in like the court intrigue of politics, right? So he's throwing barbs, expecting to get barbs back, or that veiled kind of dagger in the dark type of a thing. And then on the other side, you got the commoner who's like, dude, come at me one more time, see what happens.
Yeah.
So you have a meeting of two different worlds that do not understand each other.
Yeah. Yeah, or like you can even say too, like the warrior mentality versus, the
courtier.
Exactly. Like you just don't have, there's such a different, because I'm sure Kristen Cole thought he was insulting him as opposed to saying, hey, welcome to the team, dude. Like he was actually being quite kind to him. He's like, dude, we're helping each other out. And then he beats him to an ever-loving play. It was, God, that was crazy. Man. Get that little kid that started mashing people up with his sword in it more. Oh, bad time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
it's beautiful.
One thing on the didn't the dresses or the green versus the other colors, did that come into play? And re-explain it to me a little, because I know it kind of did, but I wasn't sure if it was like what it was supposed to be when it happens later. That I need some clarification there.
Yeah, I think they jumped the gun on that. I'd have to go back and do some research. So I thought it was another. In fact, I thought it was a. If I remember right, and I'm just kind of going over it, I think it's Damon's next wedding. There was a party, and that's where, but they were older when she wore, I thought, and maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to go, like I said, I'll have to go check out the book again and remember, but I think because what happens is they're wearing different colors. And the reason I think they jumped the gun on that, the green dress happens at the same time that Rhaenyra is at a party and sitting at the table, and she's wearing a black dress. And that's why it becomes the greens and the blacks during the Civil War. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I get why the green was there, but I think they jumped the gun early in showing her take that first step. And I don't know if it's because they want you to dislike Alicent and have her be the quote unquote like villain of the future timeline. But the truth of the matter is they're both a couple of biatches. So I mean, they're pretty shitty to each other and everyone around them. So I don't know why they would lean one way towards or another, other than the Targaryens are always wildly popular with the public. So that's my only guess, is they're trying to lean into that popularity.
But it looked like Lady Alicent clearly decided she's done with Rhaenyra, her morals, her decisions. She wants her son to be king, and her relationship with King Viserys looks to be soured because she's not on board with his succession decision, and we're going to see where that goes from here.
Yeah, it should get pretty nasty. And leave it to old Otto Hightower in his last breath is in the freaking Red Keep to get his daughter all fired up. And then, of course, have her do what Bath Time says and be proper stupid and declare war by being late with some bold fashion choices. I mean, I don't think there's a better way to explain that.
Who's that little weasel that is going around acting like Peter Baelish?
Yeah, so that is what's the new Sir Strong, Larry. That's one of Strong, the new Hand of the King. That's one of his sons. But that's a character that they've moved into a more prominent role, I think, to try to – because what it's going to end up doing is, if you noticed, the guy that went in that is, the Hand sent his big old freaking – that's the Sir Larry – that's his son, his oldest son and heir, the Strong. And the thing about him is he's kind of like this Billy Badass that just goes walking in and just starts beating the pit because he's huge in the books. Like they talk about, he's a pretty giant dude. And he and Rhaenyra kind of end up having a thing. And so more than just a thing, I'll leave that for the show to show you, but there's a connection there. But that's his little brother is what is the big, so the dude that was stomping on everybody, that's that dude's little brother. Yeah, there is. Some great quotes again for Bath Time. Here you go. I like Allison. She's living. New Danny's a slut. I can't see her motivation beyond that for her. Like, not wrong. She's pissed that friggin' Rhaenyra got to just kind of sow her wild oats.
But she got back with the hello, stepdaughter.
Oh, yeah, that was dirty too.
That was petty, and I loved it.
Petty Murphy shit right there. He was the Hand of King's brother, son, actually. At the foot of the king's son. That was funny. He's like, because they both got leprosy or something. Yeah, and later on, Larry Strong in the preview doesn't look like he's doing too well either. There's a big time jump coming. I mean,
yeah,
you're talking 10 plus years if I had to guess, looking at the age of the kids. So it's a good jump. And
they still apparently haven't figured out the stepstones.
Yeah, well, even in the original trilogy, the stepstones were the stepstones, and they just were out there. Nobody gives it because Baelish, freaking Littlefinger is the first one to actually kind of tame the stepstones. That was his thing. He was the Lord of the Stepstones, or they called him the Fingers at that time.
Yeah, Littlefinger.
Yeah. Well, that's because he lost a finger. But everybody's losing something in this stuff.
Well, I'm very excited for this time jump and to see all the implications in my voice crack, but it's gonna be awesome.
Sorry. Bath Time got me there. He said, what's the point of a preview if you think the king's dead and then it turns out he's not?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too.
They did try to end this thing on like some sort of cliffhanger with him passing out, and then we see in the preview he looks like really bad. It's like the reverse of Alien 3. Oh. Yep. Last time's going down is like epic listener right there, watcher, whatever. Oh, I love it. Man, I am enjoying it though. I thought it was a great show. A great episode. I think both of these episodes of both of the shows we reviewed tonight are like the ones that locked me in as a fan of the shows. Especially with House, and I think with House of the Dragon, it was the fact that we're starting to see the fruition of all of the moves that have been made in the first 4 episodes. Because they were kind of slow and they're doing a lot of setup, but we did get a lot of violence and a lot of moves, and now we're full on into the start of laying the true groundwork for this civil war. Because once Aegon's born, there's a preview out there that looks like Vhagar might be coming in one of these, because I won't say who, but there is a dragon rider on one side of this fight that does go and track down Vhagar and which is one of the original
3 dragons
of the Conquerors. Old dragon, oldest dragon alive right now. I'm hoping we get to see Vhagar. So yeah,
sweet.
And this is also Bath Time got a good point here too. Is I like Doctor Who and the Black Valerian guy a lot, and they're carrying it at the moment. And I agree. Those 2 characters are the most intriguing characters in the show right now, because Matt Smith is Matt Smith. I mean, we knew him as one of the most divisive characters in all of the Game of Thrones literature, being Daemon, especially in this time frame, was going to do well. And I don't know the actor's name who's playing Corlys Valerian, but yeah, he's dope too. Steve Toussaint is his name. But Daemon likes him young though, because I bet you can't guess who he marries second.
Lena, or whoever her name is. Yeah,
his little cousin.
I think they're cousins.
Yeah, I think they're cousins.
Cousin one time removed or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, which I'm pretty sure she can't be more than like 15 or 16 in the timeline. Maybe 17. I don't know. But yeah, there it is. Man, some twisted shit going on in these shows. And I am here for it.
That's why we watch them.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, I think that's all we got. Any final thoughts on House of the Dragon?
I am looking forward to next week and seeing some kids kill their cousins.
Yeah.
With the Iron Throne.
I don't think any of them get killed right away, but one of them's going to lose an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be some messed up stuff. Yeah, the one in Dragonstone. Yep, that's Lena Valerian, the one that the king was supposed to marry. And God, would he would have saved some problems if he had.
Right?
Yeah, I am too. I'm also interested to see what they do with Hightower, with Otto Hightower, how that's going to go. But yeah, you're going to see some kids. I saw one of these things is not like the others. Yeah, you might be singing that song next episode when you see Rhaenyra's kids.
Does he have Baratheon black hair?
Well, yeah, strong black hair.
Nice.
Oh, bad time. Oh no, not that one. The actual prostitute he's got on retainer in Dragonstone. Oh man, the comments just get better and better. That's fair. She's got to pop up here somewhere again. I mean, she kind of declared war on him at some point, but
yeah, she's been a little silent of late, but they showed her too much for her not to be something.
Yeah, when we saw her for a minute at the end of or during the last episode, but
yeah.
I will say one thing that I'm missing from this show versus the original Game of Thrones is a character like Varys the Spider.
Oh yeah.
Right, because you have this. It's like in the original Game of Thrones, anybody's selling your secrets, and you don't know who they're selling them to. They're selling their own secrets.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck? And so that's just like, I guess the element that I'm missing is having these, little birds, as he called them, these eyes and ears that apparently know everything that's happening in the kingdom.
Yeah.
And I'm just missing a little bit of that. And I'd like to see it. But, when Kristen Cole goes and says, yep, that was me. My bad.
What an idiot.
I was like, bro, don't sell those secrets for something.
Yeah, I mean, or just shut your pie hole and keep sleeping with the future queen, you moron. Yeah, he's an idiot. Jeez. I will say that you're not wrong. The Varys character was my favorite because he's this dastardly, almost evil-ish, but he's like actually very noble.
He's got morals.
Yeah, he's kind of got this moral compass that ends up screwing him over. Anyway, yeah, we haven't had that kind of character so far. We're just morally inept or stupid. Right? That's about what we have right now. I feel it misses someone like Dario the Sword Man, a comedic character that adds to the lore and is pure fun. That's true. All three actors that played him during Game of Thrones.
Give him his blue hair, man.
I know, and this like trident goatee beard thing. All right, well, there it is. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Bath time, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Seriously. Hit us up on the email, host@whatsourverdict.com. Let's figure out getting you on an episode. I know time zones are a little screwy, but if you're in England anyway, I'm making a wild assumption there, but hit us up. Let's figure it out. And one last comment from me. Like Tyrion, Varys, etc., we're all having fun. No one's enjoying themselves in this at the moment, except for the foot of the king. Damn it. No, it's going to be his title from here on out. The foot of the king. I love it. So, hit us up. Let's get you on an episode. That should be fun. Mattson, tell everybody where they can find us if they're not watching us live with Bath Time.
Yeah, you can check us out at whatsourverdict.com to kind of see what's upcoming on our coming soon page. You can listen to us at What's Our Verdict Reviews, wherever good podcasts can be found. If you're not listening to us live right now, you can find us on YouTube and Facebook on 6 p.m. Mountain Standard, 8 p.m. Eastern, F Central Time on Mondays. We'd love to hear from you, like our MVP today, Bath Time. And then you can check in with us on social media, exclusively on TikTok and Instagram for a lot of the videos that Alec is putting up, and then Facebook as well for a lot of our live shows and things. So we appreciate y'all listening. Hit that follow, like, or subscribe button. We're excited for our Patreon to come out a little bit later as well. I know JJ's working on it, and we thank you all.
Yeah. And as Bath Time says, GG's. I love it. All right. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa! Whoa.